Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to.
Of all the things to wake up to at 6:30 in the morning, I have to wake up to this. The Oscars just happened, and Will Smith and Chris Rock had an altercation. First off, a disclaimer, if you're new here, I don't typically do celebrity junk type content, but I just felt the need to talk about this because it's the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning. So a lot of people are gonna be making content about this, and I'm pretty sure ABC or maybe even YouTube is gonna start pulling this stuff off. So let me just start playing it so we can have some context of what we're talking about. I may have to cut out some of the sound, we'll see, but here we go.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Oh.
G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. Okay? Just saying he can't wait to see it is making a joke because, you know, comedians. Apparently the crowd didn't like it either a little bit, so we're going to see what happens.
I'm out here. Richard.
And this is it right here. Bam!
Oh, wow.
Wow, indeed.
Wow.
Keep my name out your fucking mouth!
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
Wow.
Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
It just got so awkward after that, didn't it? Greatest night in the history of television. The greatest night. The night's not over yet. You would think he would say that was the greatest moment or something different than the greatest night. So Chris Rock just got hit by Will Smith. So let me break down these layers real quick. Number one, that is assault. I don't care how you look at it. That's considered assault. It begs the question, are we giving Will Smith a pass for this because he's Will Smith? All right, I don't know what's going to happen after this. I'm making this video pretty early on, so we'll see what happens. I don't know if there's going to be charges brought up or I don't know what Chris is going to do. We'll see. Number two, Will seemed to think that the video or the joke was funny. He laughed at the joke. You can see him laughing at the joke when it was told. It seems to me that there was a moment where Jada seemed unhappy. If you look at her face right here, you can see she's rolling her eyes and she's trying to look up to see if the cameras are focused on her so she can know what kind of disappointment to express for the cameras. Will enjoyed the joke, as did most everybody else that you can see. And you see Chris is kind of reacting because the crowd maybe reacted a little bit negatively, thinking maybe, oh, that was too low. Why would you talk about that? So Will seemed to enjoy the joke. It just seems that his wife Jada did not appreciate the joke, and that's what prompted the reaction that we saw him take towards Chris. I don't think for a person who's Will Smith to be taking that kind of action is the proper reaction to have, but that's just me. Now, as far as Chris's joke, to me, he's a comedian. He tells jokes. Just like he said, it's a G.I. Jane joke. It's a joke. I don't see them backing off when Chris is telling jokes about other people. I don't see them getting upset. I don't see people running around slapping people when they're laughing at Chris telling jokes about other people. You never see that. And as a matter of fact, I found out after the fact that two other comedians, female comedians, mind you, made jokes about them earlier in the show, and they both got good laughs out of it. So a lot of people are saying that maybe this is the point where he couldn't take no more. You can only take so much. But I'm not buying into that. I'm not buying into that. After all these years, they should be used to this kind of thing. A joke like that isn't even the harshest thing you've heard about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. It's not even the most shocking piece of content or information you've heard about these two. So no, I just can't get behind a man can only take so much. Nah, though I do agree with that, I think these two are beyond that point. And I know also a lot of people are saying it's staged, but this just doesn't look staged. You can usually tell a staged act right away.
Now, the beauty of documentaries, because they make you, when you watch one, you feel smart. Like you watched like you read a book or something. But all you really did was get high and watch Netflix. So here we go. The documentaries, the nominees are, let's just go to the nominees.
Chris's reaction to the hit did not look like they practiced that before. Will's emotional outburst after the fact, keep my wife's
name out your fucking mouth.
Twice, it just doesn't look acted. We know Will Smith's acting. We know what he looks like. We know how he behaves. It doesn't look like he's acting to me. From where I stand, this emotional outburst that he just had was pinned up inside of him, and he decided that this was the moment that it needed to come out. In my opinion, he's been frustrated. He's been frustrated, and I'll tell you why in a second. He took out this frustration on Chris because this was the moment to do so. His frustration most likely comes from what the media has been doing to them as a couple and their family as a whole, from what social media has been doing to them. That emotion seems like a reaction to that. Chris happened to be the perfect target in the moment. So I really do think that Will has been frustrated, but he's frustrated with his wife. Now, he can't go slapping his wife, am I right? So he's really frustrated at her. He wants to lash out at her, but he knows what that will do. He knows where she will take that. If she talks about that on her show or whatever the fuck, in the media or whatever, everybody will come for him. He knows this. He knows the climate we live in. He knows about social justice and the court of public opinion. He knows about all these things. So he can't lash out at the person he needs to lash out at, which is his actual wife. Now, why? Why would he be so frustrated with her? Well, again, in case y'all haven't been paying attention, over the past few years, she has been a 100% embarrassment to this dude. She has put information out there that she never needed to share to the public. A lot of information she never had to speak on. But her being the person she is, she goes on her show, shares this information, and leaves him to have to clean it up. The only time he has come forward with information that he didn't need to share is coming behind her to clean up the shit she constantly talks about. The information that should be private and kept behind closed doors between them that she keeps sharing. But again, he can't voice his frustrations too much towards her way, because if she talks about it, you know, everybody's going to be coming for Will. There was a point of time where everybody idolized them as a couple. Everybody was just like, oh, they are the representation of a couple, of a Hollywood couple, of a black couple, of a black Hollywood couple. They should be the model behind how a couple should work, how marriages should work out. But then all this stuff started coming out about open relationships and the way they raised their kids, which is some really odd and weird shit if you ever paid attention to what they were saying. And then about entanglements and having people on the side and just all this weird stuff that is their business, not for us to really judge, really. It's their life. But they shared it with us. They shared it with the public. So they put the stuff out there to be judged, picked apart, and people making content on it. I mean, look at me. I'm making a video on it. They put the stuff out there. We're more so Jada. And then Will had to come try and clean it up, and he never could. So being frustrated from that, it builds up. So I do understand how when they say, you know, a man can only take so much, but his frustration is directed in the wrong direction and at the wrong people. She's who he should be frustrated with, not Chris Rock for telling a single fucking joke. This really looks bad. And on top of that, on top of all of that, and I'll end with this, the Oscars is a stage where black people weren't always welcome at in the first place. So now, with Will tripping out like he just did, what does this say? Now we got hit. They've made history. Whether or not Will knows it, this is history. This is always going to be something that people remember. Everybody's going to be like, oh, remember that time Will Smith slapped Chris Rock? Oh, man. 2 black people. I don't follow the Oscars all like that, but I don't recall a moment like this ever where one person walked from the audience to the stage to assault another person. When they're doing histories of the Oscars, remember that time when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock? This is history. This ain't going nowhere. And as far as poor Chris Rock, man, he got to live out the rest of his career and the rest of his life knowing that another man put hands on him on a big stage like the Oscars in front of all to see. The whole public saw this. I mean, I know he's gonna make jokes about it. He has to, no choice at this point. But what else can he do? Even if Will Smith apologizes for this, it ain't going nowhere. It still happened. You know, so Chris has to live with that. And I just kind of think if it was me, like even if the guy apologized to me, like there ain't really much you can do to take it away and like reverse it. Even if Will agreed to let Chris slap him back and, you know, they put it out there, it's not the same. It's not the same because that was allowed. Like it's almost like Chris got punked in front of the world. And that's crazy that Will would step over those kinds of boundaries, create this kind of negativity that lasts forever over a comedian telling jokes.